Some ways, like say the the ability to use time code, use plus or minus a few frames. It dissolves. You can't see it dissolve in a film. Editing, you just slash it, and you've got to visualize what that dissolve is going to look like.
So
Video, you can do that.
So dissolves are part of the videotape methodology.
As far as being able to see it right away. Syncing of audio and video tracks is something that a video editor has really never had to worry about too much because the audio is always sunk with video. In film, if they make a change to the audio, they have to make an exact change to the video or else you're going to lose the sync relationship. So that's another thing that has to be dealt with. And I know that the other editors don't do that very well because they're working with a completely separate audio and so completely separate video. A lot of time is spent worrying about maintaining that sync relationship. That's when we took right out of the video world and says, hey, use it. I mean, there's sync in video, take advantage of it already.
Right. Let's go to computers, which is where I'm going to be.
I want to cut dialogue.
Can you see things that
Just brought in a shot log that has a dialogue.
that you would really
You
push
push the shot up
in
into the drum line here.
macros or in terms of
Put it into play.
database?
Yeah. So that's my first shot.
Not really. I've been out of the computer world for long enough that I'm several generations behind as far as what's happening in computers. I see database manipulation as being the best and the most powerful way of dealing with data. The fact that everything is there is just knowing how to get at it. I mean,
But isn't video just part of the database?
it is. In fact, what we're manipulating is a database because all the video and audio material is basically sitting in one massive database, and the system is calling it and saying, okay, get that shot, now get that shot, now get that shot.
Well, in the example where you have all of those possibilities are showing in the statistics mode,
Right.
that's equivalent to a database characteristics that you search on.
Right. I mean, and it allows me, because in things like here, like sort, I can now sort specifically for anything that has the word beach, or in this case Bach, or surf. So I can do a sort the entire log and specifically find all the beach shots.
Do you find that there would be any advantage to keeping a keyword column separate from comments column?
No, to me it's another column. I know that a keyword is part of the comment.
You simply make sure you put the keyword into comments.
Well, I don't even worry about a keyword. I just describe
If
it.
you use two different words to describe, sand and beach, and you won't pick up
That's
sand,
right,
but
then
pick
you
up
would.
beach, then you've got trouble.
Yeah, my problem with selecting a keyword is I always forget what keyword I selected. Now, did I call? I've gone 2 days without editing or doing any work or any logging of the beach material. Did I call it beach or did I call it sand?
Right.
If I just type in this is the sandy beach, I can do a quick sort. I can do a sort. Sort by. Okay. I can do a sort by beach and sand, or beach or sand. So there we have a certain amount of logical sorts happening as well.
Otherwise, it would be a lot more mechanism on top of it saying, this word that I just wrote in, the last word I typed is keyword, keep it in a keyword list, let me see what my keyword list is.
Until I change over, I go to new scene, forget to change my keyword and have to back up.
Right.
Again, we're not looking at generating a supercomputer that's going to have every combination under the sun, because like I said, even with this display here, 99.9% of our users use this display 99.9% of the time.
And what is their alternative display that they could be
Their
using?
alternative display is where they see the source time codes in and out of the entire
EDL
list.
log.
Yeah, basically your standard EDL, or they can see the EDL based on start time and the description,
Yeah.
or based on the record time as where it falls in the record sequence of the show.
So you're saying that they don't use comments that extensively?
And don't use because everything is selected here. What I am seeing here, whatever is highlighted here, all that information has been grabbed and displayed here anyway. I do see.
So if there's a comment attached to it, it's below it.
It's there for whatever my selected cursored edit is. Now, if I wanted to see a whole bunch of them, a whole group of them for some reason, then I could very easily click over to my notes display and see those notes.
Right.
But users wanted this. They wanted to be able to see the duration of every edit they clicked on, so we showed them the duration. Again, that's just pulled out of the...
Okay, so there are certain things that you want all the time while you're working.
Right.
And duration as opposed to in and out points.
Well, we've got that too. We've got in and out points.
So they want their in and Is this of a single edit that we're seeing?
That's this edit right here
Okay.
is showing me there's the in time
Yeah.
and the out time with a split audio edit and a split audio edit at the beginning.
Okay,
and the
so
end.
what you're telling me is that in this I'm seeing two things in the work area. I'm seeing the details of the edit, and I'm seeing the timeline that the edit fits into.
Right. So you're seeing all of that is shown there, and the specifics of any particular selected edit are displayed down here, including all the cross-referencing to the back of the log. It's edit number 3 in the list. It was take number 3. It was shot. It was scene 50. Yeah,
Isn't the hardest thing laying out the information without column headings?
I just remember what it was, and again, I don't pay attention to a lot of it. But scene 50. I've also been doing a trade show routine for 4 days, and my brain is going. Scene 50, take 1, close up of Bruce. It's a video-only edit. It was a cut. It was take 3, and it was edit number 3.
Coming closer on that.
It's just changed to a new edit list.
Right. The edit list. You can look at the edit list
Oh, there you go. There's your different times. She's showing those are there. It's displayed with all the source times for the original tape.
Right.
The light ones.
The light ones are soft deletes. Those are edits that exist. All the times have been marked. They've been taken sort of one step back from the list. That gives me the option of taking a look at it. I don't want it, take it out, but it's still there that I can quickly slip it back into place again.
What about list cleaning and things like that? Because I've never worked with list cleaning.
An E-Pix list is always clean.
Okay, so as soon as you put it in, it rearranges it?
It's because this is the hardest thing to describe. It's always a clean list because you're never laying something on top of another. Because it's a non-linear system in the way it works, if I have a piece of video this long and I want to drop another piece in at this point, that becomes a new edit point. This is automatically trimmed. That's the length, and the new piece kicks in.
Say that one more time so I can follow.
Here's an edit. This little short guy here.
Right.
If I want to put another edit in the middle of that, I'm going to put it inside. It's going to break it into 3 edits.
Right.
That'll be the end point. I'm not overlaying anything else, which it's just going to automatically trim it and clean the edge down. So I've got a piece this long. If I go like that, what I'm actually doing is making this edit, getting rid of this completely, putting in the new edit, and then the next piece after that.
And so
it's a
everything
virtually clean list.
Okay. What does that mean in terms of I knew where the ambient noise was?
Right.
But in my world, I know it by, I happen to edit ambient noise once. From the time I edit it once, I know where it is by a time code number.
Right.
But if your event numbers are always moving, how do I know it and how do I call it back?
You can look at the description of it in the description section. You can look at the timeline.
So you're saying that I should make it a clip up in the beginning. I should log it.
No, but if you said you remember what it was, you know the time code numbers for it.
Yeah.
Odds are you're going to recognize it. If you go back to the graphic display, you're going to see these little tiny boxes all over the place. And you click on it, the description tells you it was wide shot of the room. You remember that's where I got my ambient from.
Right.
Or you could make a clip of ambient noise, or ambient sound. In fact, a lot of feature films and that they will give you wild sound.
Right.
And that becomes the clip
that's
you work
the last
from.
thing you take before you stop. Usually.
So you can do that.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to play back all these sequences,
Okay. And if
I think the possible disadvantage to cleaning all the time is if you're inserting. Sometimes when you're doing audio edits on tape eventually,
right?
You don't want to punch out noise. But you can stand, you have to have one or the other. But if you...
I'm not sure what you mean.
Now instead of using the add function, I'm going to use the insert function. The system will insert.
If you laid down, say you laid down ambient sound, and then you put stuff on top of it. Well, now if you clean the edit list, it would get rid of the audio that's underneath the new stuff you laid down. But if you then record it online that way, it may sound different. Because what you're doing, I'm not sure it's better or worse, but it will be different.
It's never a problem.
Because you're not always, you don't take your background and keep punching it in and out, but you rather lay it down as a long strip and then put stuff on top of it.
Right.
That can sound a little different.
Yeah, it's true, but if it's background now, if you do that in a final mix, you would clean that up anyway. Well, you're going to hear that. What you hear, when it plays back, you hear the same section. If you hear the same section over and over again, that's what you're going to hear. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't go through and do a, rather than deleting it, do a replace. Lay down a long strip of ambient noise, and then overlay on top of that, and that would keep the running ambient sound there.
Yeah, but your automatic cleaning will get rid of that as being and turn it. And well, I guess maybe this isn't so much the sound, but the number of actual edits that you do is a lot more. Because if you lay down a background, say, and then put in 10 little pieces here,
Right.
then you have 11 edits. But if you clean the list so there's no overlap, then you have like 20 or 21 edits.
That's right. That shouldn't be a problem. If you're editing, as long as your editing system is a good system, you're not going to see a difference.
It's more aware.
It's more aware,
Our software will.
but that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
If you were in a situation, I've seen a proposal for a small system that would show 3 edits currently. That would be the one that you're working on, the previous, and the next, and that would be all you'd ever see. Would that be a way that you'd find acceptable to work?
No, because as an editor, I almost find that. Sorry, no, because as an editor, if I have to be reminded of what I just did, I want to know what kind of editor I am. It's like, I'm an editor. This is my trade. I shouldn't have to be reminded of what my last shot was.
But
or
a
what
lot
I've
of
been
times
doing.
your last shot, you're choosing, for example, with the audio, it's not just where I start my word, it's how much I left after my last word, so it's the combination of the two, so I care about transition, the last for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's the major thing I care about.
I see that here. That's showing to me where how my last thing was laid out. It shows me very visually the layout of video and audio editing. I don't know.
The question,
we talked
here you're seeing however many edits fit.
Right.
And the question is, could you work if all you ever saw were 3?
If 2 discs isn't enough,
You'd have to span yourself back and forth to find any others.
Yeah, that's true. You have to go through it. And if I want to go back, I don't want to have to be stepping back. I can look at a glance. I can shrink this down and see an entire commercial at a glance.
Yeah.
Get a feel for it. And we actually talked about this yesterday at lunch, in that a lot of these manufacturers are coming out with systems, and they're giving people things they never had before, and they're things they never thought of. And in our opinion, they don't really need. Like in film editors, you never had a head and a tail sitting in front of you. You had a strip of film. A film editor never takes a look at a piece of film and looks at all the different frames in his 10-frame sequence. But manufacturers are offering that, and I'm not going to name names. There are other systems that are doing that type of thing. Well, why? No film editor, and it's being hyped as great. Look we can show you the entire list of 10 frames that you've just edited. So what? I've never had that in the past, and it's not going to do me any good to see it now. So why is it there? But it's hyped, and people say, "Wow, that's really great."
Well, one thing about
But if they think
not
about
the
it,
10 of them, but I've seen people that give you the discriminating frame, because sometimes you have 12 takes and they're all identical start and ends, but in one of them the person throws their hand up in the air, and that's the one you wanted.
Right.
And so you put that frame as a discriminating frame rather than
the system does.
the others.
We select it. Put a check mark by it.
What's a check mark mean?
What we've done is, if there's one take that's we choose our selector needs an identifier, we can put a little check mark beside it, and that identifies it. So then I can do a sort, and I can sort by check marks and find all the scenes that have check marks by them.
So essentially what you're doing is you're saying if I have 12 takes and 2 good scenes, then I'll get both scenes there.
Yep.
Then I'll need to discriminate in the comment to say one stumbles and one acts too cool.
That's right. And I say these things that are being offered that
this list here, the audio is actually coming from
to me aren't useful. I don't want to see all 30 frames laid out one frame after the other on the screen, because as a film editor you never had that. I mean, yeah, you did. You could take it there and look at it, but no film editor ever just stood there and looked at all his frames.
But a lot of times what they're getting is they're getting the first frame of each of your clips. Do you object to that?
That one, no, I don't object to that one as much, because we can get that just as quickly, selecting any edit. and it comes up on the screen.
Right.
And in many cases, you're looking at a picture that's so small, so badly digitized. I don't see it as being really helpful. I mean, yeah, it's there, and if you.
Well, the place where it becomes less useful in my mind is I just did a documentary with our group that had 15 people and 20 hours of film, and it's amazing how so many heads will look alike.
Oh yeah.
I mean, head frames.
Right.
Yeah, so you start looking, well, if they all look the same, because they're all this big and they're all, a 20th of standard resolution, it's pretty hard to determine.
So you've got to have all the other information on the screen to help you distinguish it.
Yeah. So that's why we've got this information.
Right, and in montage, they simply write across it.
Yeah.
And they make their comments sort of changeable over time.
Yeah, I'm not, 100% familiar with how the montage is, what they're doing or allowing you to do in their system. It's not. Every manufacturer has their own system. Every manufacturer can say why theirs is the best, and every manufacturer can say why everybody else's doesn't work.
Right. But
that's what makes capitalism so wonderful.
Yeah. But again, back to the essentials, which would be what would a computer world? What could a computer world see as a methodology that might bring something different? The sort of things I see are, if you've ever done those sort of stutter edits, 2 frames, 3 frames, 2 frames, 3 frames,
right.
I would love to see that just done as a macro.
We can do that as a macro. By being able to program macros, it's very easy. Because building a flutter cut sequence is a very mundane.
How do you build a flutter set in your world?
Call in the first edit, mark my spot, probably grab the next spot, then just work back, grab it, move the head and tail up a little bit, and just have it keep going over and over and over again.
Oh, sure, but I can do that on the consoles too.
Right.
Manually, you want it automatically.
What you want to do is just do the first 2 and then write the algorithm and the constraint.
Now you're computerizing it. You're taking.
That's what I'm trying to do.
No. Well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to take away an art form.
No, I'm trying not to build it. I'm trying to build it back for IBM.
Right. No, I realize that. But it's so easy to. We could write the computer, make the computer do anything. In fact, jokingly, we said, well, we were going to do a quick study, and we did a study, and there was some numbers came back that the average TV commercial is 30 seconds long. It has 18 shots in. Each shot is 2.5 seconds long. There are 3 different voice tracks. We said, well, heck, we could write a program that all you do is you put a bunch of material on, and we're going to edit. You say push a button, and the commercial comes out based on the average commercial length.
Right.
It's going to find 18 random shots, put them together, and odds are there you go. You got a commercial. And if it's a beer commercial, it'll probably work, and probably sell beer. But if you want to take it to the extreme,
done that for writing, descriptions of things. They string together phrases and buzzwords, and it comes out sounding almost sensible.
So you can overly erase.
Ours are red.
You can eat. Pardon me.
Our boxes are red.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It's some little bit of sarcasm. It was just put in for fun by one of our engineers who's been working too long. And what was I saying? You can computerize anything to the nth degree. As is that my? Can you pause it for 1 second? See, I know what I was saying is about being able to have a computer can do everything. But to call up a macro, to pre-build macros, how many times are you always going to do 2 frame? Well, maybe the editor wants a 2 frame, 3 frame, 2 frame, T frame.
At that point, you become on the fly. You want it to memorize. You have a repetitive sequence of actions.
Which
you want to do it once to have it memorize it, and then you just say, all right,
is that really any different from a digital effect? Because there you do a sequence on the fly, and if you really liked it, you memorized it.
Yeah.
But we don't have that same power usually in the editing systems. To build those on-the-fly effects.
That's what I want to do right now. If I want to build a macro,
I
say program, the next set of keystrokes I do are going to be my macro. Next time I need that, I do it. And we have a bunch of stock macros. We don't load them and give them to everybody, but when people ask what macros have you got, say, well, I've got a macro that'll automatically create a black edit at the beginning of the show. I have a macro that'll automatically separate tracks into separate video and audio edits. I've got a macro that when I go for lunch, it puts the screens to black and ejects all the discs. And those are just things over time, they're uses that I have found that I use on a regular basis, and they save me a few keystrokes. Because we all know that editors only have a certain number of keystrokes in their life and they die. when you use them up, that's it. So that's why macro keys are so important.
I love it. Okay.
So it's all a total package.
This particular Mac that you have, what is it? Back to that.
Yeah.
What if you have a PC? Your stuff?
Not enough memory. Not enough. Probably won't. Any other PC you mean?
Oh, yeah, PC or a Chrome.
No, I think it's got to be Mac. Mac
you
too.
based it on a Mac platform?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the software's written for the Mac.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so I laid one scene in.
Okay, are you playing back the tape?
This is my source machine. So I laid the first scene in, and I'll do right now I'll do a cut to the next scene. I can say, well, that didn't really look good as a cut, so I can go back and redo it. All I gotta do is tell it to dissolve and redo it and do a dissolve without having to make a B-roll. All the sources, one Betacam source tape is all in that. So it's playing back in RAM and it does a match frame to RAM to my new source.
What is this composite video or component video that you're recording it in?
It's D2 component.
D2?
Yeah. The ultimate record master is D2.
Yeah, but the RAM itself, what does it record? Is it
I'm
composite
not sure.
Oh, okay. So anything you play will go into that 32 seconds of RAM.
34 seconds.
34
RAM,
seconds.
Yeah.
That thing down is 34 seconds.
It's actually these two panels right there.
So if you wanted a
11.
little over a minute, you have to double that. Is that how it goes?
Well, you don't really need more than that, the way it works.
What if you have elements longer than 34? Will you just match frame edit into it or something like that? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, basically what it does is it acts as a sync window. If you've got a scene that's longer than 34 seconds, if you need to it'll hold the last 34 seconds of your scene to layer over or to add to or whatever you want to do. So if you need to, you can do it in pieces. If you need to, if you've got a scene that's 60 seconds and you need to add layers to it, you do it in 34-second increments.
So you butt splice it after 34. Oh, okay. I got it. Is that a big hassle or?
No, it takes care of all of that itself. And it handles
audio work.
Okay, right now it takes the 4 channels of D2.
4 channels of D2.
Right, and it turns them. The only thing it does is turn them on and off. But you've got unlimited split edit. So you can, with 4 channels.
How much running time do you have on your audio? 34
Well,
seconds?
that's on the D2 tape. It's just like a regular recorder. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's say you lay down an audio bed and you find a spot of the drum, for instance, and you want to edit from there a new sound. Can you jog through it real slow?
Not. I don't know if you use D2 at all.
Well, we're just starting, and I'm just curious.
It's the same.
There's a buzz to it. Does it still have a buzz to it?
Yeah. D2 does
this
that.
Particular one.
Well, all D2. It's digital audio, so it's.
The E-Pix one has some that you can jog through.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen that one.
They probably license it. It'll probably end up on East Coast and BTS. I'm just curious because I've seen other. In essence, is this like a non-linear edit system or linear edit system?
It's linear.
It's linear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How come somebody said it was non-linear? So you have to go. So you're strong.
Larry might be able to explain it a lot better than I can.
You're tied up with some
I'm trying to explain it to him, and I'm having a hard time.
Okay.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, yes.
Cornell.
Hello, Cornell. Hawaii, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
And you're
Mike.
Mike.
How can I answer for you?
Well, I was asking him if it's linear or non-linear.
It's really a linear editing system, except for within the confines of our memory, we can do a little bit of non-linear editing. But it is an online.
Alright, so you want to do an intro first?
Yes.
Are you live now?
I'm live now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is an Avid One media composer, and we're going to talk a little bit today about how the Avid One can be used to work with video and sound information in ways that go a little bit beyond the linear style editing that you see in normal online systems. In the Avid system, we have the ability to bring pieces of video and sound equipment onto the system as clips. Each one of these frames here represents a sequence of sound and video information. And what we can do is we can view this information in a variety of ways. We can see it as these head frames. We can look at comments associated with the material and statistics associated with the material. Now, one of the nice things about the Avid system is not only can you work with the clip as a whole, but also you can work with it as either subsets of the clip or as supersets of the clip. And I was going to show you a little bit how to do that. Can you get both of these screens in here?
I'll have to get them one by one. If
Okay.
you do something and then I'll walk over there and do it next. So tell me when we're about to move.
Alright. You can see here on this screen that some of these entries here have different icons associated with them. The icons that have a slightly wider frame here are whole clips of information as they were originally digitized into the system. The ones with smaller, narrower icons here are subsets of a larger clip, subsampling if you like. And these ones...
Do you carry the history of where they came from?
Yes, I think so.
Because I don't see the history.
This is their original tape. This is their ultimate original source right here. This long tape names. So at least the original source is preserved. So you can go back to your original source tapes
That's the only thing that's important.
and redigitize if you need it.
That's the only thing that I care about.
Now these other icons here represent sequences, and these are collected, edited short pieces of clips that are joined together and given a new name. Okay? Now, let's show how this works. We can take one of these clips. Let me put it back into frame mode, and I'm going to use.
Are you always in head mode, or do you ever go into head and tail mode? I've seen both of them used.
Well, in the bin you only have frames here, but down in the timeline you do head and tail modes.
Oh.
Because down here you're dealing with time-ordered information, so you care about the start and the end of a clip. But over in the bin, you just
The
need some
collection.
visual representation of the subject content. And you can actually change which one of these frames
To a
is
significant
used.
frame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the Avid, we can, let me clear this out here. Okay. We can go over here and grab one of these frames, like, is it Commander Kirk in this level here? Alright, so we'll drop Commander Kirk over in the source monitor. Now, the whole clip is actually quite long. There's perhaps 30 seconds of video material here. Fire. Okay?
I'm all set.
But I'm not necessarily interested in the whole video. Okay? What I want to do is take a piece of this. So I can mark an in point and then advance the video and click in an out point. Okay? Now, this piece of information represents a subset of the overall clip. What I'm going to do is go over to here and create a new bin. Alright, and I'm going to give it a name. this is going to give me a little empty window where I can store some of my new creations in without getting them mixed up with some of these other things. So I'm going to go over here to my original thing and drag this over to here.
Wait, I didn't drag fast enough. Okay.
Alright. So now it shows up here as being a part of the clip named Fire. And it also retains its original scene name, which is Star Trek. And I can edit this, okay, to being, let's see, Photon Strike. I can't type and look at this at the same time. Alright, that's good. Move this column over here so you can see. It's still not strike, is it? Great editing capabilities, huh?
Very nice, actually.
So now, you saw the whole clip before. This is a subset. If we take this piece, I'm going to drag it over to the other monitor now.
About to. Okay, let's go.
All the way over here. And now, this whole piece is just that little in and out point. So when we play this, it's short. It's a subset. Now, we can take these pieces and make larger sets, supersets of clips as well. Alright, so we'll take a different shot of Mr. Kirk here. I'm going to mark an in point here, an out point here, record that in my source monitor over here, so now it shows up in our timeline. I'll take a different sequence, pop it in, copy this in and out point down to here, and yet another clip over here, marking in and an out point. I'll take these as well. Notice how easy it is to do these kinds of edits on an Avid. I mean, we're literally doing real video work here, even as you're watching.
It's truly amazing.
So now, in this record monitor, in the timeline, we've assembled a sequence of three pieces of video information. I'm going to give that a new name. We'll call it Star Trek Windsurf. Okay? And now that sequence of information has a new name. And I can drag that over. Oops, wait a minute. Let me bring my other window back up here. I spelled IBM. This is terrible. I apologize to everyone at IBM for misspelling their name. Okay, so I'm going to bring it over here, and now we have one of these little icons which represents a sequence, okay? So you can see we have all the components of a visual hierarchy, enough elements to create a dialogue, to actually be able to work with these things in very structured ways, if you like. Now that we have this as a little dialogue, a little sequence, we can drop that over here, drag it right from here over to here, drop it in, and now we can treat this whole thing as a single unit. So if I want to record the same thing twice in my source monitor, now I have 3 copies of the whole sequence down in the record monitor. I can go back here and play the whole sequence, and now it'll be the same 3 things repeated over.
Here it comes. Now.
Let me ask some questions.
Sure.
Multimedia.
Okay.
Do you see this being able to be upgraded? This, there's one in the video head and tail methodology. Do you see that as a viable one in the multimedia world?
The head and tail identification of the clip of video is kind of a trade-off in some ways. It's a trade-off between space and representational flexibility. Here at Avid, we chose to actually capture all of the frames on disk. Some of the other systems that perhaps you've seen and interviewed, such as Digital FX, use just a frame at the start and one at the end. Well, that's fine. It doesn't take up very much space that way. But on the other hand, you can't really get at the material in between without going back to your original takes.
Right.
Whereas on the Avid, you have the choice of actually selecting which one of these frames is representative here. So if I want to, I can change which one of these frames represents the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you get that?
No, do that one more time.
Okay. I can actually change which one of these frames represents Arnold. Here, see?
Yeah.
can see him moving. We can pick whatever frame we want. Now you can't do that on a system that just takes head and tail frames. Now in terms of multimedia applications using the Avid, people have done multimedia presentations using an Avid. We have people who've done video wall editing. Now, we don't have direct support for doing video wall type things, but Joe Berkeley, he was around earlier. And try the other side.
Try the other side.
We don't have direct support for that kind of thing, but as separate pieces, people have done that. Other kinds of reasons. A lot of people have done, they've done a lot of commercials, a lot of advertising work.
If we're doing a stripped down sort of world for a programmer and trying to see what a programmer needs, which is much less than what
Yes.
a real life world needs, one proposal that we heard was to only show them 3 scenes, clips, the one you're currently editing and trying to refine, the one that precedes it in your collected report list, and the one that follows it if in fact it has a follow-up. And the question was, is 3 adequate to let a person work?
Well, it also kind of touches on the need for keeping backups and reverting to previous versions in case of mistakes or errors or system crashes. In the Avid system, what we do is we automatically checkpoint during the session at a usable selectable rate.
Bless your heart.
Okay. In fact, they can turn the whole thing off if they don't want to. Okay. And if they successfully complete their session and exit normally, there's a single revision of that whole session saved. If for some reason they crash, everything right up to that point is saved. So for every single session, we're maintaining one of these backup files. So we maintain versions arbitrarily back. Now at some point you have to go back and clean out those older files.
Well, think about what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have in your
Do you want to get a picture of me, by the way?
yes, that
As
way
long
I'll
as you're
remember
interviewing
you.
me.
No, I'll remember. Oh, can I get you the other directions?
Sure.
Is there any place where I can get light on you a little bit better? Stand out. Yeah,
Is that better?
that should be. Oh, you're going to hate this. It is really dark. Smile. It's your beard. It gives the approximate.
So you should be able to get sound from here, okay?
Actually, come in. I'd rather get you a little bit.
I'll speak up when I
Yes.
talk.
Okay. And let me lock into place here. This actually is wonderful recording.
Okay, so you started to get into a little bit about what kind of versioning and such a programmer might need in
Programmer,
creating.
as opposed to that if I'm working in the montage system, I'm seeing in front of me all of a set of clips I've just collected together.
Right.
And I'm scanning down the list and up the list, and I can see any of them that I want to work with. If I don't have that sort of support because I'm working on a cheap programmer workstation, can I work? If I only can at the moment say, select this clip and I'll show you the ones around it. And so if I want to see another part, I'll have to say select.
Yes.
And is that a way that's workable for a programmer?
I would say that you could work in that way.
Could you tell me drawbacks and advantages?
As a programmer,
Yes.
I prefer to have as much material, as many tools, as much power as I can use at any one given time.
Well, you can see that the reason I'm restricting it to 3 is because I'm looking at the head and tail methodology.
Right.
If I gave you a statistical methodology, I can clearly show you more. What would you trade off?
Well, let me give you this answer, okay? If you could sell me an editing system for my Macintosh for like $2,000 or $3,000
Right.
using a head and tail frame mode, I'd buy it. I have a Macintosh.
For 3, but giving you only 3 positions that you can
Sure.
see.
I would still use it because anything is better than nothing. See?
But if I gave you
once
an
once I had that, I'd want more for the same price.
But would you buy the head and tail and 3
Sure.
over
Sure.
a statistical view, that where you could see lots of the statistical view at once?
Well, there's a real difference in the paradigms there. There's a lot of
the
power
essence.
in numbers,
Right.
okay? And there are systems available right now which allow you to work directly in the numbers. The Sundance system is one of them. It allows you to directly edit EDLs, do some deck control, but you never see pictures on the screen, okay? That's fine if you want the extra power that the numbers will give you. But if your real concern is creativity and content decisions and audio quality, give me the
We're
pictures.
talking about not having any audio.
Okay.
Still frames with no audio.
Okay.
Does
Well,
that change your decision?
no.
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 All you'd see would be a sequence of the first frames.
I think that would be good enough. Sure. I'd still say go with the pictures.
Because
Myself, I'm rather visually oriented. Even though as a programmer I deal a
that's
great
what's
deal
interesting, that you're a programmer
with
and
numbers. Okay.
visual.
I've done both. I've done
Right.
video production and I've done a great deal of programming. My entire career has been as a programmer. Okay. As a programmer, I deal a lot with numerical constructs, data structures, and code, which clearly are number-oriented things. But the development of code is a very different process from creating time-ordered sequences of things, okay? It can be really hard to visualize a sequence of anything looking at a set of time points. Because the numbers are too abstract.
Even with, I'm assuming that the numbers include some comment field. That's still not adequate.
Well, even still, you might have a vague idea, but you can't really make the kinds of decisions you need to make as an editor.
What about, I just finished a documentary of 15, I shot 15 people with 20 hours of footage. And on the laser disc that we did for our interactive multimedia, we must have some 600 cuts of 15 different frames, essentially.
That's only 600 frames.
Yeah, but how do you, I mean, what use is head and tail frames when they all look alike?
That's
It's not
one
a
of the
dramatic
trade-offs.
movie.
That's a trade-off. Okay. When you're dealing with a subject matter like interviews, that is a real consideration. We've had customers bring out the same points, you know.
Yeah. Because it seems what this is ideal for is the head and tail view is for dramatic.
It's made even worse by the fact that you don't have sound. If you had sound, at least you'd have little sound bites associated with your frames,
Right.
so that you can at least refer to the dialogue portions of it.
Now, actually, the win here is in montage
Yes.
because they scribble on the front of it.
Yeah. So
Just as much words, like the first word and the last word of the transcript, they would scribble on it. And so they'll make
that's kind of an interesting thing.
because
I
it's
know.
all the data, but you don't want a pop-up window. I mean, that's the other thing. How do you feel
I think
about
I'd
pop-up
rather-
windows?
Well, we use pop-up windows.
No, but I mean for extra data. If you're trying to scan a bunch of information, are you willing to stop on each one and pop up data on it, go to the next pop-up data on it?
I would rather have a display which shows all the information potentially, but I want control over what is displayed in that window.
Yes.
Okay, so I want the capability of displaying everything under the sun, overwhelming me with information potentially, but I also want to be able to go back and just say, I just want this track and comments, and that's it.
Don't you also want tremendous database support?
Yes.
For example, if you're logging footage, wouldn't you want to have keyword control?
Yes, we offer databasing in the Avid system.
Yeah.
In our bins, we do searching, sorting, sifting,
You search
ordering.
and sort on, but it's part of your comment?
Yes,
Okay.
it's hard to search on a picture.
Because the problem with keywords is that you have to remember what your keyword was and keep it consistent, so that if you're adding a keyword column, you always have to use the same word. And if
That's
you have
true.
multiple people using it, it becomes
Well,
very awkward.
I could apply some of my AI background and put some of that in there and make it
Well, that's the
word
sort of,
content oriented.
but that's the sort of thing we're talking about, because we want to go that route.
Well, you make your system to search on semantically equivalent phrases. I mean, I don't think that's a major research issue.
Yeah.
There are synonym dictionaries and that sort of thing. It can be done fairly simplistically. I think IBM does things along those lines.
Well, the other thing that we have access to that a lot of people don't is we have some research in funny input devices.
Such as
we have
handwriting tablets.
Yeah. And gesture recognition.
Right. I remember reading about that.
Yeah, I have a movie on it. And speech Tangora. When you speak slow,
you're not going to propose to adding neural networks to the system.
No. No, I mean, clearly we're still pure research. We're not a product place. No. So it's just toy systems.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I think that's basically it.
Yeah, that's great.
This is the EMC2. It's a digital nonlinear offline editing system. We have the highest video resolution and longest storage capacity of any digital offline editor. The system comes with 2 monitors, a keyboard and trackball, and the tower. Now the tower has the key to what makes the system so unique, and that is that we transfer source material directly onto magneto-optical discs. These discs are erasable, reusable, and removable. So if you have more than one editor working on the system, when that editor's done working on his show for the day, he can remove his optical disc. Next editor can put his in and start working within a matter of minutes. The transfer process is in real time. It's a direct transfer from a VTR directly onto the optical disc. Transfer 1 track of video, 2 tracks of audio, and time code. Each disc can store up to 1 hour and 17 minutes of source material at 30 frames per second. You can expand that storage time if you transfer every other frame or every third frame. The EMC2 is designed so the user can focus on one screen only. Here's the main menu. You select your option by scrolling through the main menu. You also have a prompt line which will guide you through the menus and functions you're working with. And on the right is a viewing screen. Here you can play your source and master material, and it shows the corresponding timecode number. Let's go ahead and play some of the source material.
1 giant step for beach chairs. Don't be smart, just look for misses. In the meantime, Lance and Mata had returned, and
as you can see, we're about 16 minutes into the source material. Very easily and very quickly, we can jump to the beginning of the source material.
At a special contact point somewhere in the city, Mata Hari was on assignment to receive 8's code of the month. But little
and
did
just
Mata
as
know
easily, we can jump 15 minutes, 0 seconds and 0 frames into the material.
I'm doing anything at all. Well, now I know they're responsible, so stop them. We will.
Once you've transferred your source material onto the optical disc, you have several ways you can manage with the material. You can log the material on your own PC, transfer those time codes into the system, and just transfer in the scenes you're going to want to work with. Or you can transfer in all your source material and log once it's in the system. You can bypass logging altogether and make straight head and tail cuts also. Let's go into a log that's already been established. Here you can see the head and duration of each log pull is shown, as well as a note associated with each. As you scroll through the log, the first frame of each log pull is shown in the bottom right-hand screen. That's not enough information to feel comfortable with what that pull contains, Press the space bar, and the head and tail of that pull is shown. You can also view it.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Now say it 3 times fast.
Oftentimes you have a very extensive log. It's very long. If you're searching for one particular scene, you don't want to scroll through that whole log. Instead, you can select the search button and enter a keyword for it to look for. Let's look for a scene where there's a crystal ball. Here it's brought you that log pull where Mata says, look into the crystal. We can view that.
Look into the crystal ball, sir. You are going to meet someone very special very soon.
Say we really like that scene and we want to add it to our edit list. As the prompt line indicates, by hitting the A key, you can add a scene to your EDL. So you can build your edit list directly from your log if you choose to do that. Let's go ahead and add this one. I press the A key, and now this pull right here has become edit 16 in our edit list, and that's the head and tail of that new edit. Going into our EDL, we can now work numerically with the master. Here, the head and tail of each edit is shown, as well as the master in and master out points. Also shown is the style and tracks associated with each. As you can see, edit number 1 is a straight cut, working with 2 tracks of audio and a track of video. As you scroll through the EDL, each edit is also represented visually on the timeline and also on the cut boards. Here, edit number 6, this is the head and tail of that edit, the tail of the previous edit, and the head of the following edit. So in a film strip-like fashion, you can see how that edit fits into the master. Oftentimes you're going to have a client with you who's not going to want to work with the numbers, so bring them into our boards menu. Here, the first frame of each edit in your EDL is displayed. Edit number 4 has now shrunk by that much.
Is that a missile? Be patient, there will be plenty more.
We also have the option to add a scene to our edit list. Right when he said be patient, there'll be plenty more. Let's add a scene.
There will be plenty more.
After he said be patient.
Be patient.
We've queued our position back up on the timeline. We're probably pressing A to add. Our source material has once again been queued up on the left-hand screen. Now we'll play that, making head and tail cuts for where we want that scene to be. Playing the source material.
Be patient. There will be plenty more.
Let's get the scene of this lovely monkey here. Enter, that's the head position. We'll play to select the tail position.
And disguised as a hot dog vendor.
As you can see, edit 18 has been added to the end of our EDL.
Is that a missile? Be patient. Turned. And there will be plenty more. What?
Now to clear up this mix-up of numbers, since that's the last edit to be added to EDL, we still want it to be in numeric order. Let's press S to sort, and it does just that. Going back to our boards menu, you can see where this scene has been added to our EDL. We also have real dissolves and ADO style effects. These are built directly from the EDL, and notes are made right in the style key. Here we have a D for dissolve and an E for an effect.
No excuses. No. It's your fault the code book was stolen.
Here you'll see a dissolve.
Why are you crying?
You were
And then an ADO style effect.
foolish, and you were stupid.
Once you have the master the way you want it, you can convert your EDL into an online format. We support all online formats and film edge lists. You can copy this converted EDL onto a floppy or onto a printout. Take that and your source material online and create your master. Are there any questions? Okay, if you'd like to be added to our mailing list, you can leave a business card or fill out one of our cards. Thank you.
It's actually, we actually take over, we do a hostile takeover of an Avid. We put a CPU card, no, we put our own CPU in there, so it runs our own operating system inside of Avid. So basically, you go to Finder, you click on Finder, you go on the symbolic tab, you hit another task in Avid. That's all I saw.
When it
3D. We can wrap how tight we want to pull it. And we have aspect control, get it in a cylinder type shape, and then we can position it one side to the other side. Okay. So there are a couple of effects built. You can more or less fake a 3D looking sphere. I got one here.
You can get that low to your light sources, right?
Yeah, I can add light sources too. You see, with the right video, you can make that scene pretty seamless. But using splits video to pull it apart, it's 2 keyframes with a loop on, half continuous. And then the last feature of Sphere is slits, which is a way to transition. What slits does for me is segments the video and allows me to pull it apart. So we can really segment it, pull it back here. And we have angle control again, it's all keyframeable. We can randomize the segmentation there. So the idea behind here is that the video starts together and then you can pull it apart to transition. But we also have that pattern modulation. So we could make those slits dance. Alright, we have some effects built. There's slits. This is showing some page roll with a light source. Let me run that again. The slits and then adding pattern modulation to that. Well this is, looks like one channel, right? It is one channel, believe me. Showing the frame store capabilities. Making a flag using the whites, freezing to the frame store. And then using the flag waving position modulation to wave that flag. This is just building a slab. This was used actually as a live effect. And we stored this, and then we have live video going behind it and in front of it. Even though that's frozen. You have that choice. Our page roll. Very interesting. Here's something we call pour split. So pour on that tile. A new way to bring it on, right? And you can add glow and drop shadow and all that to this too. And this is showing the pattern modulation, A-B side. Change video. Add some recursive trails. This is one of my favorites. I like to call this bubble. It's using Sphere and fading it out partially, and getting the feel for reflections inside of it. Okay. Taking a light source with actual separate border control. That's really what I'm using there. Video rewinding. I just want to hold it quick here. Just the video. Questions, anything anybody wants to see? I mean, there's a lot more bells and whistles and tools. It can be flat or wash. It will take any format, output any format. You have composite, component, digital. And then you can choose what kind of composite, what kind of digital. It's 8-bit, 10-bit, serial, parallel, D1, D2. Everything's transcoded within except for D2. Right, and then it has 3 automatic outputs, composite, component, digital. Pick what kind of output. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's automatic, that output. That's big. And we have 32 sources and 16 keys that can be hardwired in. So you can actually take your video from here in your source select here. Say video's coming from there. My key is going to come from my character generator, turn on my external key, we've done what we call a split key very quickly without having to get up and patch or anything like that. Drop shadow is part of the channel. We have quite a degree of latitude, and of course it can be key free. You can actually make the drop shadow video look like you're coming in, different sides of the video. We can lead with the drop shadow because it pops away just because we lost video. It has opacity control. It also has a matte generator, so you can colorize it. And just back a little bit. With the curl option, it has indicated size control on the drop shadow. We have border. Let's put on drop shadow again here. So when we soften the edge of our border, it will mimic it in the drop shadow. Right, be consistent. We can separate our edges, deal with one edge at a time.